Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in again with me here at Success After Pain Podcast. Today, I want to welcome you all, especially for the ones that are first time watching the channel. Welcome to Success After Pain Podcast. I'm your host, and this is more than a podcast. It's a movement from those who have faced addiction, trauma, setbacks, heartbreaks, disappointments, and life's toughest challenges. Here, we believe your pain doesn't define your future, but your comeback does. Every week, we'll share real stories, powerful lessons, and practical wisdom to help you turn your struggles into strength and your pain into purpose. So, wherever you're listening from, get ready to be inspired, challenged, and reminded that your best chapters may still be ahead of you. Let this time be a learning experience for you. This is Success After Pain Podcast. Let's get started on today's segment. Today's segment, if I had to give it a title, it would be We Do Recover. You know, before going to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, you are looking at a person that acted off of impulsive thinking. Someone that basically allowed their emotion to dictate how they would handle a situation. See, what I've learned before coming to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I had to be validated from people, places, and things. See, it was all about how my perception was that I gathered from you. You see what I'm saying? In other words, I wanted to be somebody that I was dying to be but couldn't be at the time. How many of you out there can identify with what I'm saying here? You see, a lot of times, man, we want other people to validate our BS. You know, I gotta be that big person in every party that I go to. When I put on my clothes, I gotta be the best dressed, and I gotta have your approval. Well, after going to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, you see, things started to change. I don't have to be that person in the room that everybody got to acknowledge or big up. You see what I'm saying? I can be myself today and be comfortable in my own skin just being myself. You see what I'm saying? These are some of the tools that I have learned in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. Before going to the rooms, man, I remember being incarcerated. And this is how I ended up finding the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. Because at this time, I was about 35 years old, and I was incarcerated at the time. Numerous of times before I shared a part of my story here on YouTube, basically. You know, all of my life, man, basically in and out of jails and prisons. I've served about 26 years in jails and prisons, right? Before I found a new way to live. But let's get back to the story. Well, at this time, I remember, man, that someone basically came around and put a memorandum up on the bulletin board. And it was saying that if anybody wanted to attend a meeting, that they would feel free to just, sign your name. And basically, on that particular day, someone would come from off the street and would hold a meeting. Well, I would say that was the best thing that ever happened to me, basically when it came to my recovery. When I heard that person share it for the first time, man, that's when I realized, the thought came, maybe you're an addict too. Because mind you, all before going to jail, in and out, basically my image and all of that showed the signs of an addict, but I was the last person to see it. Basically I was walking around as a dressed up trash can. How many of you all out there that can identify with that sort of behavior and thinking? Well, welcome to the program. Welcome to the segment of this meeting as well. That's why I say we do recover. See, even after listening to somebody share their experience, strength, and hope, it took many more rigorous of experiments before I realized that, guess what? I'm an addict. Before I surrender, you see, because one thing for certain and two things for sure. 9 times out of 10, you're never going to surrender until you understand that you are an addict and your life had became unmanageable. See, because before coming to the rooms, you would have never told me that I could go to a room and listen to people just like myself that experience some of the outrageous things that I've experienced and stayed clean. I would say, man, you gotta be out of your mind. I probably would have looked at you and said, man, you must be high now. For me to go to a meeting and allow somebody else to share some of their struggles, some of their atrocities, some of their character defects, and expect me to stay clean? How? Well, guess what? It works. That's why I'm a firm believer to basically inform my listeners out there. We do recover. You see, after going to a meeting and allow others to basically show me how to stay clean, that's the only time, man, that I ever came close to having a decent life. Do life still shows up? Yes, life still shows up. You know what I mean? Yes, life still be lifing, as they say. But today, I find the solution. I don't stay in the problem. See, that's the difference from today than yesterday. See, I was that person that I wanted to get on the pity pot, even after most of the times causing the situation to occur for my actions, for my thinking. You see, today, man, I understand that life is going to show up, but I don't have to use people, places, nor things in order to get through it. Like they told me, you know, my situation, things around me may not get better, but I can get better around things. You see, I've learned these things inside the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, find you a meeting. Because, see, I remember stories like going to the mall, buying me a pair of shoes, you know, at 4 o'clock on a Friday. And come 10 o'clock, the dope man got him on his feet. You see what I'm saying? I remember those times. I also remember those times when, guess what? When that addict came to me and had his belongings or her belongings and gave them to me for a little piece of rock. And I said to myself, man, that would never be me. And found out, man, later, I became my best customer, man. My best thinking got me a seat in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, man. So guess what? If you're new, stick and stay, man. We do recover. Today, man, my life is nothing like it once was. No, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm far from where I used to be. I've learned how to deal with life on life terms. I don't have to use people, places, or things to get through what I'm going through. When I'm facing an opposition, I know how to pick up the phone. I know how to call another recovering addict. You see what I'm saying? They told me, if you don't know what to do, then just don't do nothing. See, sometimes your greatest thinking can cause more pain, can inflict more pain on you. You know, after being to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, man, after coming to the rooms, man, life gets better. You see, if you're out there still struggling, still in the jungles of horror, you know, it's a new way, man, and it's a better way. You know, the literature said any addict can lose the desire and find a new way to live. So guess what? If I can do it, so can you. And so can you. See, they told me just one day at a time. See, they also told me too, have a plan or plan on failing. See, today, man, I got a plan, man. And the plan is, man, to stay in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous because it has given me another life within a life. You know, this is the best feeling that I ever felt in my entire life. Even when I had more money, my finances was more stable. But today, you know the difference? See, because one thing I've learned, because see, before coming to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I was that addict that I thought money and prestigious positions would keep me clean or make me happy. That's not true. Because guess what? Even after excelling to that point of my life when I became my own boss, homeowner, a banking account that was substantiated at the time, not only just for me, but for my family as well, I still couldn't stay clean. I still use people, places, and things. Because guess what? Before I relapsed, I had another monkey on my back, and that was gambling. See, one thing that I've learned from being an addict, we substitute one addiction for another. See, I left using drugs alone and picked up gambling. I went from playing Tomp to shooting dice. From shooting dice, went back to playing cards again, went to Blackjack 21. How many Blackjack 21 players out there? Yeah. Well, today, man, if I play Blackjack 21, I don't have to put a bet up on it, man. But that just show you, man, how the disease of addiction, it runs rampant, man. They told me 1 is too many and 1,000 is never enough. The literature says they put great emphasis on that. You know the reason why? Because that means everything in my life, I want more than just one. When I say everything, everything. See, it took me to get to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous to know and understand that one can be good enough for me. I don't have to have multiple things in order to feel, important, or feel complete. Because see, most of the times, that's what we're trying to feed, that lost void that sits within our soul. See, that's why we use people, places, and things to help us get through what we're going through. Because why? We don't want to face life on life terms. See, today, man, they told me I got to show up so I can grow up. You see what I'm saying? I got to continue to go to a meeting, you see what I'm saying, and get a checkup for my neck up so I won't throw up. You see what I'm saying? In so many words. Because, man, before coming to the rooms, man, they said we were sick. Very sick. And see, even after being in the rooms, I got to be mindful now. Absent doesn't equal recovery. See, I got to come to the rooms. I got to put in some work. Yeah, I got to do some things. Like they told me, man, the newcomer is the most important person in a meeting. You said, well, why is that? Because it would give me a reflection that nothing has changed out there in that sad world. You see, I get a chance to look at me all over again through somebody else. See, they told me, man, change I must or die I will. They also told me if the drugs don't kill me, the lifestyle will. See, a lot of us sometimes, man, feel like just because we put the drug down, then our problems is over with. That's not how it works. I've always shared, if you ever been to a meeting along with me, you'll know that I always share. Only 10% of it is the drug itself. The other 90%, it's me. I'm the problem. See, way before the drugs even was accepted, I was already an addict. My behavior showed me that. My upside down thinking showed me that. My insanity showed me that. Because every time that I use people, places, and things and expected a different result, that's the behavior of an addict. Yeah, that's the behavior of an addict. That allows me to basically medicate myself in things that has no great significance than me getting to the solution. See, me personally, I want to be that addict. I want what I want when I want it. How many of y'all out there can identify with that? You want what you want when you want it. Yeah. Most time that's how we think. We become selfish people. We don't think about no one else but ourselves. But I'm here to tell you, we do recover. Today, man, my family is everything. You know, it does me a great deed to know that they are secured through my effort, through my hard work, through my sweat and tears. When I can go out and work a job or go out and work for myself as a business owner and provide the things that they need. See, one thing about recovery I'm learning, you got to become accountable and responsible. See, those two things right there, right? That's the hope shot for that addict that feels like they want to give up on life and nothing out there for them to be grateful for. When I'm looking here at you today, I'm here telling you, don't think like that. Don't think like that. Because guess what? I was there before and I thought like that. But one thing about it, I may not have liked all the chapters in my book, but I never closed that book. I never gave up on life. You got to pick yourself back up. You got to brush yourself back off. And you got to tell yourself, I'm worthy to have a decent life. See, and one thing you must tell yourself as well, and I always share this, the world don't owe you nothing. I'm going to say that again. For you all that's out there that's thinking that the world owe you something. The world don't owe you nothing. But guess what? This is the hope shot for you. You owe yourself the world. Yeah, you owe yourself the world. See, when coming to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, it taught me, I learned something here. That, just because you may not get it right today, doesn't mean that you won't get it right tomorrow. Or vice versa. You can get it right today and have a struggle with getting it right tomorrow. It's all right, though, because we're not perfect. Even though, if you're anything like me, I strive for perfection. But let's look at the reality aspect of it. I'm not a perfect person. You see what I'm saying? Yes, I prepare myself to try to do what's right. You see what I'm saying? But today, I got to have an open mind. I got to be willing. And I got to stay honest with myself. See, before you can be honest with anybody else, you got to be honest with yourself, man. You see, so many times, man, I trick myself out of blessings. Because why? I try to run game on the next one and felt like, I bypassed myself, knowing that it was a game, but I'm going to go and run it on somebody else and miss that blessing. See, because why? I wasn't honest with myself. See, we got to know today, man, before you can be honest with anybody else, honesty starts with self. See, that's why the literature teaches us, with three things, if we can grasp three things in our life, we're well on our way to a better life. And that's honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. With those three things, the literature says you're well on your way. You see, after coming to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, man, I've learned that the help is here, but it's up to you. See, most of us, when we get here, we are busted and disgusted, and we feel like life owes us everything, or everyone owes us everything. I just shared with you, the world owes you nothing. But what are you going to do to change that feeling? The literature says, if you want what we have, then you must do what we do. And that is to find you a sponsor, find you a home group, find you some phone numbers. They say dial them, don't file them, And two, get you a basic text. Go into a meeting, get you some pamphlets, especially that self-acceptance pamphlet. That pamphlet taught me that, I can face life on life terms. I can be honest when I make a mistake and tell somebody it's my fault. I made that mistake. What can you help me to change that from happening again? See, we got to get gut honest. See, one is too many and 1,000 is never enough, right? So if you know that, then that means that your life had became unmanageable some point of time. So there's certain things that you got to do in order to get that manageability back in your life. You see what I'm saying? Allow me and others that are working a 12-step program to help you get that back in order. The program, I can't emphasize enough of the miracles that takes place, because before coming to the rooms, I would dare tell you that I could go to the mall and buy a brand new pair of sneakers and give them to the dope man for another hit or another sniff. But yeah, that was a part of my story, man. Renting my cars out to a person that didn't even have a driver's license. Come back, the car may be raked up, and sometimes didn't even get the car back. Had to call the police, man, and, pronounce the car was stolen. These are the things that when you're in active addiction, once I use, I lose every time, all things. And that was a part of my story, man. See, today, man, I don't second guess, with using. Using is not that answer. The answer is I must continue to go to a meeting. I must continue to reach out to my sponsor. And I must continue to share my experience, strength, and hope with you guys. That's the only way I can keep what I got. They told me in order to keep what you got, guess what you got to do? You got to go back and you got to share and give back what was so freely given to you. And that is the message of hope. And that's the reason why I'm here today. Because we do recover. You looking at a person, man, that just recently went back, got his CDL, getting ready to go on the road again, just got an opportunity over the weekend, getting ready to, start this whole process over again. See, but just imagine if I would have stayed there after I relapsed and said, you know what, man, I'm not going to try anymore. Every time I try, this, that, or the third happens. One thing I've learned is that I can come up with some of the outrageous, most excuses that a person can come up with when in time of need. Because why? I don't want to pick myself back up and do the things that I need to do to better myself. That's how most of us think before coming to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. But I'm telling you, if you're looking for a better life and you want a better life for yourself, find you a meeting. I don't care if it's NA, AA, even if it's the church for you. Not for me, but at the same time, the NA program is not a religious program. It's a program to teach you how to deal with life on life terms. It's not even a drug program. Again, it's a program to teach you how to become responsible and accountable for. It also tells you to find a God of your own understanding. It's not me to tell you who your God is. I'm just letting you know that my God, I see God different. And I'm not here to go into that, which that's another topic, which I'm going to be covering on another platform in a few weeks to come. I'm going to be starting another channel dealing with current events, etc. But I want to just stay on the topic here. We do recover. And with sharing that, hopefully I said something that will inspire you to do something about that high cost of low living. See, you got one life to live. But in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, it would give you a second chance at this process called life, because it has done that for me. Today I love my life. I love me. See, in order to love in order to love anyone else, you got to love yourself first. You see, before coming to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, you couldn't have told me I didn't love myself. Because if you asked me, I would have told you, yeah, I love myself. But how? Let's make this make sense. If I'm continuing to go back and forth to jail, I'm continuing to use on a daily basis, how can I love myself? See, because one must know and understand, if you're unconsciously aware, check this out. Every time you make a decision to use drugs, you just that close to committing suicide. Yes, those are facts. Especially now, you don't know what you may be getting, man. Yeah, your intention to be buying a piece of crack or sniffing some cocaine, who to say that it wasn't laced with fentanyl or these other outrageous chemicals that they have out there now? You see what I'm saying? Life has changed, man. The drug industry has changed. Are you going to continue to play Russian roulette with your life? Think about that. Are you going to continue to play Russian roulette with your life? Again, if you're new, stick and stay. This is where we turn pain into purpose. You see, before coming to the rooms, I was just a dressed up trash can trying to figure out how I was going to get that next one. You know, just know your pain is not your identity. Your past is not your destiny. And your struggle is not the end of your story. Keep growing, keep healing, and keep believing. Because success isn't about what you've been through. It's about what you become after going through it. This is Success After Pain podcast, where we turn pain into purpose and where recovery meets redemption. Peace. Proper education always corrects error over here at Success After Pain podcast. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, in order to be alive is to be aware. Stay tuned. More to come.